What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in. Back with another edition of the On the Ball podcast. I mean, look, you already know the crew. They were here last week. Got up here above me, top left. Brett is not guarding the two, he's guarding the three. How are you doing tonight, Brett?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk sports. A lot of fun basketball news. Football just had the Super Bowl. Let's get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then top right, look, you just saw her yesterday here on the network. She had so much fun last week. She had to come back. You
Mm-hmm.
got Jory from Jory Sports Stories, which you guys need to go check out. But Jory, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. And my other co-host has decided to join us.
Right, and obviously, if you guys know Passion and Precision, you all know Bella, who makes her appearances on there as well. Looks like maybe on Tuesdays, maybe she might make some more appearances as well. But well, yeah, like Brett said, we have a lot to talk about, a lot of NFL. We're obviously going to look at the Super Bowl, kind of break that down, how that all went. I mean, it wasn't the most exciting game, unless you were maybe 95% of the country just rooting for Kansas City to lose. Like, you probably loved
Like me?
it. So we'll obviously break that down. And then the NBA, now that the trade deadline's come and gone, we've seen sub movement on the buyout market as well. So some teams are trying to improve themselves that way. We'll kind of break down all that as well. And who else? Not who else, but what else we may talk about? You never know. Conversation we'll just take off from there. But we do at the start with the Super Bowl, as the Philadelphia Eagles did, dismantle the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night to get their Super Bowl title, stop the Chiefs from the three-peat. And like I said, a lot of fans tuned in, hoping to see the Chiefs lose, so they had a great night. But I feel like a lot of the conversations coming out of it, I feel like some of those I kind of want to bring on here to get your thoughts on. Like, first off, the GOAT conversation that was obviously starting out there between Mahomes and Brady. Does this put an end to it completely for you? Or do you still think there's a chance Mahomes can still be the GOAT when all things are said and done?
There's still a chance.
But I
Like
mean,
I feel like
does Sunday's performance maybe change what he needs to do in your eyes to become the GOAT?
it, but he can't play like that in the Super Bowl again.
I mean, that's fair.
I will say that.
Because he didn't have a great game against Tampa Bay either.
I think this one may have been worse visually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely not over. I think people forget that record after 5 Super Bowls. Tom Brady 3-2, Patrick Mahomes 3-2.
Right.
I I think that he can't afford to do, like Jory mentioned, get blown out like that again. I think obviously there's still a chance. Obviously, I think right now a lot of people are just kind of overreacting to it in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
I think really has to happen is if you watch the Super Bowl and your takeaway was the GOAT conversation's over, then I don't think we watched the same game. Did Patrick Mahomes make mistakes? Yes. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. But if your takeaway was they lost that game because of Patrick Mahomes, then we're not on the same wavelength, because
Mm-hmm.
I think that game was more of the offensive line getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And if you want to look at somebody on offense, okay, what happened to Travis Kelce? He was giving up on plays. He wasn't blocking anybody. He was dropping passes. He looked like he was the last guy that wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is going to be a pivotal offseason for the Chiefs. They have to reshore that line, which is going to be hard. I think Trey Smith is gone in the offseason. But if they want to make it back to this point next year, They need a better and more consistent effort out of Travis Kelce, and he was great for them, against the Texans, but he largely disappointed in the playoffs, and the Super Bowl was the worst one yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And D-Hop, the drops. And then to come out and say something about the refs. I'm like, you've been infected. Like, you've been infected. Like, you didn't do all this crying in Tennessee about the refs, and you kind of had a point to cry about the refs because the refs were horrible this year. But now you want to cry because you dropped 3 balls. And the one that you slid for, you were wide open.
Mm-hmm. And I still think it's crazy that he dropped that pass, and then his touchdown pass was a way more difficult pass to catch. Like, he was going down, had to reach all the way up, took a hit, held onto the ball. But yeah, he's the last one who needs to obviously talk about refs. And also, D-Hop had to know the conversations about the Chiefs all year, the past couple of years about the refs. Nobody's going to take his side if he wanted to complain about the refs as a Chiefs player. Like, that's a conversation he would have on his own. But Brett, you did bring up the offensive line didn't do well. The skill positions weren't necessarily creating enough opportunities to get open and everything like that. Because this is another conversation I think has been happening since this game. I guess with the Chiefs and everything that it seems like they need to fix, are we kind of setting up for somewhat of a drop-off next season from this team because of so much that's seemingly needs to be fixed after what the Eagles did to them?
Juice for the bark.
Let's see.
Absolutely.
Oh, you can go ahead, Jory.
Because I'm like, I think we're primed for a drop-off. Because it's like a lot of pieces need to be either retooled or replaced. And I don't think they fix all of that in one off season. You got to revamp the wide receiver room yet again. I bet they wish they would have paid Tyreek, but that's another discussion for another day.
True. Yeah, Brett, I guess. Oh, sorry.
No, you're...
The offensive line needs to be rebuilt.
Yes. That's probably number one that needs to be done.
What happened to Chris Jones? On the other side of 30. You need to start thinking about him. So yeah, there's some pieces that either need to be retooled or replaced. And I think it's going to happen in about 2 off seasons. I'm not saying I'm not giving them a chance to go back, because it's always a chance because they've proven it. I just realistically don't see it happening.
Okay. Fair. Well, I mean, how much of a drop-off do you think? Because, as I've kind of seen and heard, there are some people who think like the drop-off's going to be like, 8-9 type of win team next year. I think some think the drop-off might be, maybe like 10-11, still win the division, but it's not like a large gap between them and whoever you think might be second place. And I do think some actually still think that the Chiefs will be fine and will be right back in this position again next year, at least making it to the AFC title game at least. So I guess how much of a drop off are you thinking, Jory?
There'll be a wild card team between 9 and 10 games.
Okay, so I mean somebody's got to win that division next year. Who you think's in the best position to take over?
I did not think about that, actually.
I mean, I just sprung it on you because you call them wild card teams. So I guess look, you got the Broncos who made a lot of steps.
I'm not giving the Raiders a shot.
Right. The Raiders don't even have a quarterback yet, so we don't even know what necessarily they will be. But, the Broncos made some steps this year, but you'd be relying on a second-year Bo Nix tape out there on him. We don't know what defenses will do.
I
You have the
mean,
Chargers.
How many games did they win
The
this year?
Broncos?
Like 15?
Oh, the Chiefs. The Chiefs won.
No, the Chiefs.
Did they go 15-2?
15-2.
yeah,
I'll stop with the 10-game stuff. I'll have them winning 12.
Okay.
I think if anybody knocks out the Chiefs, it's going to be Mr. Theoretical Man himself, Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
Yep.
Which would mean Herbert would probably have to, I guess, finally live up to some of the expectations that I think a lot of NFL fans think he has and just hasn't necessarily lived up to completely. What's going on, Anthony? Because Anthony said, Anthony brought up how Tampa Bay beat them and they made it back the next year. That's true. Hollywood Brown was supposed to be Hill, but didn't turn out. True. Damien, what's going on? Still think the Chiefs can win 15 games, so Damien doesn't think there's going to be any drop off. The Colts get Rodgers. I can see them being a threat. No. Okay. No.
No, I'm not even going to entertain that. Absolutely not.
Denver needs another wide receiver. They have a defense to carry them. Okay. So, all right. So it looks like, Brett will be right back. But so Anthony brings up Denver as a team needing wide receiver. They have the defense that will probably make them competitive next year. And I think if you're an AFC West team and you saw the performance that the Eagles put on the Chiefs, you probably feel more optimistic going into next year that you can probably make it a little bit more interesting than it's been the last couple of years. Let's see, Mike Patton, what's going on? Believe new to the show. Thanks to the new comment. Herbert is great in the regular season, but when pressure mounts, he hides away. Very true. Absolutely. I do think Harbaugh probably will have him better prepared than Staley ever could. So I would be interested to see how Herbert will be over the next couple of seasons with Harbaugh really kind of instilling his program out in LA. Colts better stay far away from Rodgers.
Don't mind Damien.
I think teams in general should stay away from Rodgers, but
stay from Rodgers.
Denver can make a run potentially. Nix isn't going to have as good of a season as he did this year, though. Very true.
Correct.
Get Brett back in here. There we go.
Hi, I'm back. Sorry, I really couldn't see the comments and it was bothering me, so I just refreshed my page.
No,
Don't even worry about it.
So it looks like from the comments, like a lot of people are intrigued by Denver next season, but obviously Bo Nix will be the biggest question mark. And then with the Chargers, it's Herbert. Herbert's going to have to get past the narrative of him not showing up in big games before they can really think about taking over for Kansas City. And then nobody's really...
We've seen it twice.
Yeah.
I do love I think that's hilarious, the idea that if the Colts got Rodgers, anything would happen. Absolutely nothing would happen if the Colts got Rodgers.
Yeah. Damien says, what about the Texans being a threat? I like the Texans on paper. I'm going to say that. I'm a big Texans fan on paper. This past year, they really disappointed me, so they kind of need to show me next year before I think of them as a serious threat again.
I think they can be. Like are they going to have healthy receivers? Like, as long as they can stay healthy, which they couldn't. And CJ Stroud, kind of bounces back from a down year this year. Yeah, they're absolutely going to be a threat.
I don't care whether they're a threat or not. In all,
I mean, yes,
we still go down to Houston and beat their tails every year. Moral victories over here.
Right. So Mike says Texas got the same issues the Chiefs do with their O-line.
The Laramie Tunsil stinks. and he uttered the curse word of Ravens winning the Super Bowl. Oh
See,
my
I
God.
didn't put that
I'll
one
leave
up
it
there because I was going to save it for now. So think 2026 we're having this show with the Ravens winning the Super Bowl.
I think not.
It
Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
it's possible. They're gonna have to play a lot better than they normally do come playoff time.
Yes.
They're disciplined all year until you get to the playoffs, and they almost like lose focus because that's what happened against Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
They got real sloppy, undisciplined, and unfocused with bad turnovers, drops, and those are just mental errors. So they have a chance, and eventually Lamar probably does win a title, but they just got to really, button up and be disciplined and just be on their game in the playoffs and just don't make so many mental mistakes and just things that'll come back to bite them.
For my sanity, I hope that never happens. For my sanity, I hope that never, ever, ever, ever happens. I hope they keep getting bounced in the divisional. And I don't trust them to stay out of their own way.
Lamar will win this.
You could be perfect all season. And then when the lights shine the brightest, here come the fumbles, here come the turnovers, here come Harbaugh getting all cute and then stopping the run way too early. I don't trust them until they actually show me.
I'm kind of in the same boat with you on that, Jory. I mean, look, will Lamar eventually win a title? I feel like he's talented enough to do that, but the problem is the trust in the Ravens to do like Jory said. Because this year, they made such a big deal about getting Derrick Henry. They threw it, got Derrick Henry. And then the opportunities when you're like, this is where Derrick Henry was brought for, they didn't use him. And this is something that they continue to do because they did against the Chiefs last year. AFC title game, everybody's like, Chiefs are ready to be had. And they run 6 running plays and try to turn Lamar into, Tom Brady like 2016. And they failed. Then this year you go against Buffalo and Lamar has the first half that he had with the turnovers. And you ended up losing that game when a lot of people thought the Ravens, like this was their year to potentially make a Super Bowl because Derrick Henry. So they're going to have to get past that block that they seemingly run into, which would be the Chiefs and now Buffalo, because those two teams seemingly aren't going to go away. Like it's almost like if the Ravens made it to the Super Bowl, somebody else probably knocked off the Chiefs for them. And maybe Buffalo didn't run into them.
It's not about the whole Titans-Ravens thing. Their fans are insufferable. They're annoying. They cried all throughout the Super Bowl. It should have been us there. Lamar could have played better. Shut the hell up. It is not about you.
Say last year it was Taylor Swift. It's always an excuse with them.
Yeah.
They've cried ever since they got eliminated. 3 straight weeks.
So Anthony says numbers are wrong, but you're paying Lamar $40 million. Why are we putting the game on the line in a $14 million running back? I'm paying you this money. You should win the game on your shoulders. I guess that's good to think. My whole thing has always been Lamar has shortcomings when it comes to passing. Not saying he's a terrible passer or anything. It's that I think defenses, if you're going to tell me that Lamar's going to beat us with his arm, I think it's easy to defend that. Now, if he's using his legs, sure. But Lamar's also not the biggest quarterback either. I don't think he lasts long if he has to rely on his legs, as many times as, he can because he is such a skilled runner. I still think until he decides to work on like outside the numbers, throwing the ball and all that, I think it's kind of tough to put the game on his shoulders once you get deeper into the playoffs.
And like, here's the thing with this one too, right? Because that's just this isn't how winning works.
Yeah, you can't
Because
be one
sure,
dimensional.
like you would love to just be able to put the ball in your quarterback's hands and be like, yeah, go win us the game every time. But that's just not how it works, right? And my problem with more so that Ravens Buffalo game is all of a sudden for like because Lamar was terrific in the second half, he
Hmm.
absolutely made up for that first half and still almost won the game. But we saw one drive where Derrick Henry just completely shreds the Bills' defense, runs down their throat for 6 plays, and then I just didn't really see much of that after.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes you put the ball in your quarterback's hands, but sometimes it's your $14 million running back. Sometimes you should just play whatever the defense gives you. And I think that game in the second half, I think Lamar was terrific, but I think that, they should have relied on Derrick Henry more, but at the end of the day, Mark Andrews catches that football, we might not be having this conversation. So,
Hmm.
okay.
Dave,
Okay. Let's slow
David's
down,
calling Lamar
Damian.
Dak 2.0. Okay.
No, he's better than Dak.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson still
He's way
he's
better.
a top 4 quarterback in the league.
That's like the Giants letting Barkley go because they're paying Jones all that money. Fair enough.
Say Lamar's a top 4 quarterback in the league, but yeah, we're not doing Dak Prescott comparisons.
Right. Um, so yeah, I mean, look, it will be interesting to see, I guess, next season how it all plays out because I do think a lot of these teams at the top of the AFC will be paying a lot of attention to what the Chiefs do in the offseason. Because it seems like with each year now, we're talking about like how gettable the Chiefs are, yet nobody seems to be able to do it. And I think this is another offseason where if they don't massively like replace the offensive line and add a dynamic playmaker to the outside, I know I've heard some people saying that they need to get some speed at the running back position. Like, if all those things don't happen, then yeah, I think a lot of teams will feel like they have a better shot next year. But you still have to prove it. Because, like, don't let Kansas City get a top seed once again, because some of these teams, I wouldn't trust them going into Arrowhead and beating them. So, and look, Lamar lost to Patrick Mahomes in Baltimore. So, like, there's no necessarily guarantee that Lamar would do it if the game was back in Baltimore again next year, even with Travis Kelce looking like how he is.
And I think people too have to understand when it comes to the Chiefs, don't let the Eagles like this game skew just how good they're still going
True.
to be next year.
Mhm.
Because now it's just like, just put pressure on Patrick Mahomes like the Eagles did. The reality is nobody has the Eagles' defensive line or has anything even close to what they can do replicating pressure. They got there almost 40% of the time, sending 0 blitzes all game. No team in the NFL can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Sweat put in the greatest performance like we may have seen from an end. And he's going to get paid this summer.
Mike Vrabel, make it happen. I'm going to keep saying it.
So, yeah, I say don't let the Super Bowl skew the fact that the Chiefs will be back next year. They're going to be back angry. And the Eagles, they're just a scary team. Even though they're going to lose Sweat, they'll probably lose Milton, the other guy who did really good for him on that D-line this year. I'm looking forward to seeing what both teams target in the offseason. And yes, Damian, Lamar is top 4.
I'm not look. If David's compared him to Dak, Damon, I kind of want to see your list at this point. Like, just go all the way in with it. Yeah, I mean, look, it's. I feel like yes, a lot of people are looking at the Eagles and what they did and are prisoners of the moment. Kansas City still has the winning culture and everything. They'll still have Mahomes. They'll still have Andy Reid. I feel like we'll probably trust them to make the moves in the offseason that are needed. Because, look, that performance from the Eagles, look, as a Patriots fan, I know what that's like. Like the 2 Giants wins, how'd they do it? Justin Tuck, Strahan, those guys up front. really getting after Brady, and it just took a couple of plays from Eli and everything to win it. So you have a dominant front four. That just opens up so much that you can do defensively that, yeah, you're going to give even a great quarterback like Mahomes a tough night. But like you said, Brett, how many teams really could do that same game plan and execute it the way the Eagles did?
I'll
They might be the
say,
only one.
yeah.
They don't have a Vic Fangio. They don't have that.
Which he kind of got lost in all this
Because he
too.
was scheming.
Because everybody talk about Spagnuolo. Fangio had a great night. Damian, people waiting for that list.
I feel like Damien's list is gonna make me like leave. Like I'm just gonna leave. Kidding, love you, Damien.
Caleb Williams, Caleb Williams number one, and then
if I see Caleb Williams on this top 5. Speaking of quarterbacks, by the way,
yes,
I need to throw this out there. The voters did get it right. Eli Manning is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I see too many people trying to argue that, well, he should have been first ballot. Like, no, he's not. The reality is, like, he had a very good career, and he will get in eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But the first ballot should be reserved for the absolute best quarterbacks of all time and just players, the best of the best. And that wasn't Eli Manning.
Yep.
Like I said last night, he's not getting in before Tom Brady.
Should induct him in the same class just for vibes.
Right. And I said from the Hall of Fame stuff, I did go a little homer, but Vinatieri not getting in, I thought was criminal. I know they don't like putting kickers in and all that, but like that guy, the amount of kicks that he made and everything like that, he probably deserved it.
I think it was criminal not to put Luke Kuechly in. I think if there's anybody on the ballot that deserves to be, first ballot, obviously they got Drew Brees right. But I think, also should have been Kuechly also. We're talking about a guy who only played 8 years, but was all pro in 7 of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was literally good from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have loved to see him get first ballot.
BC alum. I'll always support him. I mean, yeah, I think the only thing that might work against him is career wasn't all that long, but I agree with you. Like the minute he was drafted to when he retired, like he was like the class of middle linebackers. Like you were comparing everybody to Luke Kuechly. The same way like you kind of do now with like Fred Warner. Like Luke Kuechly is like your prototypical middle linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's fair to say. I don't think a wide receiver will make it first or second. It's a weak wide receiver class. I did see some people, well, the same fan base that Jory talked about earlier, they hated the fact that Suggs didn't make it, and they kept pointing to Jared Allen, and they thought Suggs should have got in over Jared Allen.
This is what I mean. They've been crying for 3 freaking weeks. Just a bunch of
crybabies. Something different each week with them, yeah.
Will they give it a rest? Go touch some grass.
I'm trying to think, is there anything next week that's going to come up that's going to be out there for them to complain about? I don't know, but.
Well, and I always hate this idea that, like you said, for example, right? Terrell Suggs should have replaced Jared Allen, or I kept saying, Eli Manning should have replaced Sterling Sharp. Like, first off, are you trying to imply that Jared Allen is not a Hall of Famer or Sterling Sharp? I think that's just a stupid argument to make regardless. I think the better argument should be, why aren't more people getting in? We have such a backlog of players right now for the NFL Hall of Fame that I don't even think you can make the argument that I don't want to water down the Hall of Fame because we have such a long list of players that deserve it. Yep. Like next year, we could let 8 guys in, and all 8 would be absolutely deserving. So I hate the argument of, well, this guy should be in over this guy. Well, why don't the voters just put Suggs and Allen in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Look, that's something I think fans kind of like about the NFL is that their Hall of Fame seemingly like it's harder to get into than obviously like the NBA. Everybody gets in because it's not just an NBA Hall of Fame, it's just basketball. So you'll get in for your college accolades and all that kind of stuff. I think MLB they're usually pretty, selective with their guys as well. But with the Baseball Hall of Fame, it's like the steroids guys and everything. Like people are just like, whatever. Because I agree with you. Like we're getting to the point where we're looking at players that like all of us kind of like have seen play, like grew up watching. But you still have so many guys from like back in the day who are still trying to get in that some guys will be on the ballot like 5-10 years and you'll be like, how did that guy not get in? But it's like you said, the NFL is very selective with who they let in. And got breaking news. Damian put up his list. So we definitely got to look at this. So he's got Mahomes 1, Stafford 2. Okay.
Yo, what the?
Hurts 3. Okay. Allen 4, Mayfield 5, Herbert 6, Stroud 7, Goff 8, Burrow 9, 10 Cousins.
Damian, Cousins? 10?
David.
No Achilles Kirk?
And they call now, Jory, look, they call us Lamar haters. We would never go this far with it. Like Damian, I respect it, but this is wild.
Joe Burrow at 9 behind Golf and Stroud and Herbert and what? Oh my good lord!
At least he didn't put Caleb Williams, so he didn't.
Might as well put Caleb Williams at this point. He's better than Kirk. What the? I can't do this.
Hey, Dave, look, you didn't run from it. I respect
Stafford?
I have Stafford on my top 10 list, but he's at 6. At 2?
Hey.
Baker Mayfield, top 5 polar quarterback? That's the polar bear in Arlington, Texas, if I've ever seen one.
Hey, look.
I respect him for putting it up.
Yeah.
But what? I can't get over Kirk Cousins being near anybody's top 10 at this point.
Hey, man. Kirk 2 chains,
It's like, don't even think he's a top 10 quarterback in Atlanta right now, probably. Like, he was bad last year.
Yeah.
He can't move.
All right, David.
Oh.
I mean, at least, look, he put Mahomes 1. We'll give him that, because the way the rest of the list gone, like, he could have put Mahomes, like, 7 or something.
I think there's an easy top 5. I think it's Patrick Mahomes. And listen, I think 2 and 3, you can flip them if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. I think those are the top 5. Because at this point, how do you argue Matthew Stafford over Jalen Hurts at this point? Or Justin Herbert? Or CJ? Or Golf? Like, there's no argument. So I think the top 5 is pretty locked. And after that, then I think you go, okay, 6, give me Matthew Stafford. Then I'm kind of just ripping off the rest of my top 10 off the top of my head. So give me a minute if I have to think about one. But 7, cool. Okay, then maybe you go someone like, maybe that's where you put Justin Herbert at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think at 8, if I had to go again, probably say that's probably where I'd put. Give me CJ Stroud, Jared Goff. Then hell, I'd put Jaden Daniels or Jordan Love at 10 before Cousins. I don't think Kirk Cousins would make my top 15 quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't know if he'd make my top 20. That's how bad he was for last year.
Yeah, probably. I guess, you did kind of open the door for a Hurts conversation here for a second. Because you have Hurts now as a top 5 quarterback. Where did you have him before the season? Or maybe even going into the playoffs? Like, was this when what elevated him to top 5 for you, or did you always kind of think he was
It didn't jump him that high for me, right?
okay?
Going into the playoffs, I had him at 6, right behind Stafford. So to me, like all this playoff run really did was show, okay, well, you know what? I think I got to move him above Stafford at this point. So to me, he was already like in that conversation.
Okay.
Falcons. But Damien, we're talking about the top 10 quarterbacks in the league right now. I don't care what he
Like
did in
now,
Minnesota.
not 3 years ago.
If we're doing a list of best quarterbacks in the league based on their past, then Aaron Rodgers is number 2. No question about it, right? Give me a better quarterback with a resume than Rodgers. Nobody, not named Patrick Mahomes.
Damian clearly trying to get Kirk Cousins to Chicago.
I would love it. Take him.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Look, Damian's list is what it is. Like, hey, like I said, I respect it.
I respect him for posting it.
Yes. There's now out there for everybody to look at and critique. So, yeah. I mean, Jory, I know you as a Bama fan. Do you have Hurts top 5? Like, where do you think he is after this win?
I think he's top 5. I also think he plays a lot better in the playoffs than somebody I know. But we're not going to go there.
Right. Yeah.
I just had to throw that out there.
Okay.
For the people in the back, he plays a lot better in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He is top 5. I would go Mahomes, Burrow, Allen.
That's the Bears hater in
Let's
him.
just go with the Lamar disrespect. Jalen Lamar.
Okay. There you go. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's that that big of a stretch to say Hurts over Lamar right now going into next season. Hurts has what Lamar doesn't. That Super Bowl MVP, not only the Super Bowl ring, but Super Bowl MVP as well.
Actually, you know what? You know what's funny now? Like I'm formulating a list, a top 10 list. The longer this goes on, and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, actually, I want my guy over Justin Herbert. Call me a homer, but I'd take Jordan Love over Justin Herbert.
At least you have a quarterback.
I mean, yes, but look, we're getting into draft season, so the optimism is there.
Hey, on the bright side, you're getting a quarterback, right? Cam Ward.
Yeah, I hope so.
Cam Ward does seem to be
I prefer
the consensus
Cam Ward.
number 1. Cam Ward, yeah.
Say, Cam Ward, get some weapons around him. Could be a lot of fun next year.
I'm also hearing they're thinking about trading that number 1 pick and giving Mayo Man another chance, and I can't sit through that.
That would be hilariously bad. And I
cannot sit through
I
that.
get giving a quarterback another chance if he showed flashes, but I don't know what they were watching last year that would go, hey, yeah, let's give Will Levis another chance. He just didn't do anything that popped out to go, we can build off that. Oh my God. Oh.
Damian must be related to Rodgers. Like he's trying to find that man a job right now.
Are you trying to kill me? Are you trying to work my nerve? I thought I was going to start on the NBA part. I might just start now. If that crap were to happen, I promise you, I will not watch football for the rest of it. I will not watch football for the season. I'm not watching that.
Find that man a job.
I'd rather roll over in my grave. Bury me alive if that happens.
I would be shocked as well if that's where he ended up. Like, I doubt Callahan's kind of fiery personality would be necessarily fitting for Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't think so.
And I don't think Brzezowski, the dude that just came from the Chiefs,
Right.
my new GM, is going for that
Yeah.
mess.
I think if Rodgers goes anywhere, it's probably somewhere like Pittsburgh. Rodgers to Pittsburgh just sounds right.
Go to the couch. Go home.
I don't think
Go home.
I
He
don't
needs
think
to
it
go home.
happens. There's one
Right.
thing that fuels Aaron Rodgers, and that is ego. Disrespect. That's what fuels him. He just got told by the Jets, "We don't want you." That, I feel like, out of pure pettiness, is going to push him back for at least one more year.
Yeah.
The final run of Aaron Rodgers, and I could see it being in Pittsburgh. Maybe he really does the Brett Favre redemption arc here and goes to Minnesota. Like, there's
Vegas
places
is
he
always
can
going to be
go.
out there. Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas. Like, I think Aaron Rodgers has one more year of football, and then he calls it quits after next.
Yeah.
He needs to stay the hell away from Nashville.
Yeah. I mean, if there are reports about Tennessee trading down, I guess there is an explanation for that. Like, if they came out and said like Ward or Sanders, they don't have them rated as number one, so they don't feel comfortable taking them number one. I feel like I could hear that argument. Depending how far they drop back, like they could still probably get one of the quarterbacks. Or I know you love Abdul Carter, so all right, Damon, what we got? Rodgers Pats wouldn't be a bad move. To be honest, I don't think Drake May is a solution. All right, the same Drake May that beat the Bears last year, but we'll leave it at that.
Okay, but Kyle, to be fair, it's beating the Bears. It's not the biggest flex ever. They beat us once, but
using Damien's logic, Rodgers needs to go to Chicago because clearly their quarterback situation is worse than mine because my team went there and beat his. So
they play us twice, and it took over like 2,500 days in between wins for them.
Yeah. So Anthony produced his own list.
Patrick Allen,
so he's got Patrick Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Stafford, Hurts, CJ Stroud, Mayfield, Love, Goff.
I'm switching Stafford and Hurts, and I'm switching Love and I'm switching Love and CJ.
See, I feel. Am I missing? I think Herbert is still top 10. But I think it's actually a good list overall. I said, I'm just switching Lamar, Stafford. I think I'd move up. Switch Love and Mayfield, and I think I would take out either Goff or Mayfield for Herbert, whichever one you prefer. Really, personally, I think I would probably take out Goff, but I do like Anthony's list. Actually, I think it has all the right names. It's my fault that you guys can't hire a good coach. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that Bell would be the best general manager the Bears have ever seen.
See, I don't have a dog in this fight because Will cost us the game in week 1. So I'm going to sit down. I'm going to sit this one out.
I mean, look, it is why, the NFL is always like in the news because now we just had the Super Bowl. Now people have switched to draft mode. And look, we just came up with quarterback rankings and everything like that. I do also want to talk because there are some other players making news outside of the Super Bowl, obviously. Deebo Samuel has been told by the Niners, yeah, go seek a trade. We have Micah Parsons, who Jerry's kind of floated that he could be moved as well. Myles Garrett wants out of Cleveland. Like, are we about to be set for kind of a really crazy NFL offseason to kind of match the NBA's trade deadline, the WNBA offseason? Like, do you think that some of these big names will actually get moved this offseason?
Look, Jerry only said that because the Eagles are playing in the Super Bowl and he just wants attention. But Jerry is also getting more senile and delusional by the day, so I wouldn't be surprised if Micah got traded. It'd be shocking, and he'd probably get swindled at his old age, but I wouldn't be surprised. Myles Garrett, we saw that coming from a mile away. I saw that coming. You've given him nothing but quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after bad coach after bad coach after you finally get a good coach, and you finally get a good quarterback, and then you mess that up to get a washed-up has-been quarterback going through legal troubles, who now no longer cares about playing football, who's ruptured the same Achilles twice in the past 3 months, 6 months. Of course he's going to want out. Just dysfunction. Now, he wants to go to a contender. You know who he'll make a contender? Well, I'm not even going to go there yet because I don't got a quarterback. So let's not speak on the delusion train. But if you just want to get him out of there, look, I got the number 1 pick.
Oh, yeah, Cooper Kupp as well. I forgot about him.
He will be cut and he will be a Titan.
I mean, look, if they cut Cooper Kupp, yeah, there'll be plenty of teams after him. I mean, Kendrick Bourne's trying to recruit him to New England.
I think with Myles Garrett, it's interesting because you trade him and you essentially are taking on $108 million in dead cap between Deshaun Watson's $72 million hit. Myles Garrett has a $36 million, dead cap hit if traded. So I'm unsure if they actually do this, just because that is a lot of money to eat. I think they might try to, force him to kind of play through this next year. When it comes to Parsons, I don't think that happens either. But you know what? At this point, I wouldn't be shocked, especially, no trade will shock me anymore, considering we just saw a Luka trade, but I really don't expect Micah Parsons to go anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one that I don't see Micah going anywhere.
Debo also needs to realize he better watch what he asked for.
Yeah. I mean, because part of me is like, if I'm a team like the Patriots, would I make a trade for a guy like Debo? And the thing is, Debo will be intriguing to teams because you can line him up in the backfield. He can play like a running back for you. You can line him out wide. You can put him slot like that. That for like an offensive coordinator will be intriguing. Also got to realize, though, with that, Debo's going to spend some time injured because of that. And it's kind of something where these teams are going to have to weigh how much you want to give up for a guy that you have to plan on him missing a few games a season. But the talent is there. So I wonder who he probably has in mind, since he's out there seeking his own trade. He's always going to look at destinations that he really wants to play. I kind of wonder where those destinations might be.
I think a team to look out for any pass rusher is the Green Bay Packers. This is going to be their first year with pretty much all of the dead money from the Aaron Rodgers years off the book.
Okay.
They're going to have money to spend. And as much as people want to say it's wide receiver one that we need the most, it's not. It's really a consistent pass rush. We gave Rashawn Gary a big contract, and he disappointed. Same with Kenny Clark. He's another guy we paid top-end defensive tackle money to, and for most of the year, he disappointed. We need a guy to win a one-on-one on a four-man rush. We don't have that right now, and that's kind of an issue. So I could see the Packers being aggressive for an edge rusher. If there's one position that I want to see them be aggressive for, it's not a wide receiver. I don't care about the wide receiver. It's an edge rusher.
Yeah. Okay. Anthony brought up T. Higgins as well. Says that the Bengals are saying they're going to try to keep him. He doesn't believe that. I mean, look, Higgins got rid of his agent. I feel like Higgins would want to stay. It's going to come down to, once again, that front office, which hasn't really shown that they're willing to spend to keep a lot of their guys. And they're going to have to give out money to Chase. Like, how much are they willing to spend on the 2 wide receivers, knowing they got to upgrade the defense as well? So a lot of the money needs to go towards that defense. Will there be any left around to sign both Chase and Higgins? If it comes down to one or the other, they're going to choose Chase over Higgins.
I think that's an easy one. Plus the wide receiver talent, especially in the draft, is starting to become really oversaturated almost. There's just a ton of just young, amazing talents that are now coming out of college, and I think it would be smart, honestly, to let T. Higgins walk. Go find someone in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, because there's plenty of talent to be had. And the reality is, you drafted T. Higgins, you drafted Tyler Boyd. You've shown that you can identify talent outside of the 1st round. I would trust in your scouts to do it again. Let Higgins walk, and then go, find your guy in the draft this year. I'd pay Trey Hendrickson over.
That's also true. They got to give Hendrickson some money as well. If you lose Trey Hendrickson, like, as bad as that defense was this year, it would be so much worse without him. Yeah. I think we all can agree on this one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yes, I see Max Crosby move.
Yes.
I hope so. I would love to see him on a real football team that isn't the Raiders. Tired of watching him waste his entire career so Aiden O'Connell can run the worst offense possible, or Derek Carr can throw hospital balls over the middle. Let's get this man to a real team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of movement that's set to come. Yeah, I couldn't find Nick Wright's quarterback mountain. If I can find it for like next week, I'll look for it then. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else NFL-wise before we go NBA? Oh,
Dak Prescott.
So ESPN.
With your delusional ass.
Yes. Go ahead. Why? Find the betting odds for next year.
Right.
So, yeah.
I just had to go into that one. Dak.
Yeah.
Speaking on the Eagles, like they ain't win the Super Bowl and you ain't never missed the playoffs.
I'm about to say, you got to give them the quote that Dak put out there.
I should have wrote it down.
Okay, no, I'll get it for you.
I should have wrote it down.
Wait, that quote was recent? He just said that?
Yes, it was today.
I thought that was from like when they played him the first time.
No, he said it today. You got.
Oh my god! I really thought that was from like the first.
Let's see. So basically, the overarching point was Dak said the Cowboys are very close to winning the Super Bowl. So that he used the fact that they were competitive against the Eagles this year as his reasoning to why the Cowboys are close. And not just close, very close to winning a Super Bowl. So go ahead with your rant, Jory.
You competed and you got swept and you lost about 15. You lost about 10 games. Close. He's about as close as to a Super Bowl as Earth is to the damn sun. At Pluto. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brett, this was very recent.
What does he mean by close? The closest game this year was 34-6.
Because look, I found a direct quote. I found a direct quote because he was talking at a gala event for a Children's Cancer Fund event that he does. I feel like we've competed with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we played them. I don't want to say check the record when the other guy's holding the trophy, right? So credit to them. They've earned it and they deserve it by all means. But yeah, we're very close. That's his full quote.
I
And
I
that was
can't.
today.
I
He
can't.
said that.
No.
Hey,
That can't be real.
it
That
is.
that can't be real. I refuse to believe he's this stupid. But
Y'all
you know what?
I had to
Oh, yeah.
once. I'm like,
Anthony put the whole thing in there for us, too.
you've competed.
You know, they were on the same field. They kept it within. They almost kept it within 28 once. Like
Yeah.
they're there. If you like erase the scoreboard, look at that. You can almost marry that quote and the Micah Parsons quote for dumbest take of the year.
That's exactly where he got that BS from.
Yeah.
He's been hanging around Micah. Micah's contagious. He is an infection. What is this with this delusional crap going on in Dallas? What the air? Nico Harrison, Jerry Jones, Micah. Now you got the damn quarterback on the Kool-Aid.
Jory, you better watch out. Dallas has been kicking people out for saying bad things about Micah. They might come to your house and try to kick you out.
Ooh. I got handcuffs. I got a key. I know how to bust out. Like, bro. You lost twice
delusion runs
last
deep.
year. Even last year. Didn't they lose at least once?
Yeah, they lost once and won once. They were 1-1 last year,
There you go.
but that doesn't mean anything this year. And the fact that you're probably going to be even worse next year when you pass up every single need, so you can draft Ashton Genty in the first round with no line and watch everybody still get blown up
Yep.
and have the worst D line in the league against the run game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, I don't think anything changes for them next year, and it's going to be funny. They're going to have to win shootouts if they want to win.
Now look, Dak is 9-4 against the Eagles in his career, so he's feeling good about himself.
Awesome. Jordan Love is 1-0 against Patrick Mahomes in his career. Can I say he should almost be a 2-time Super Bowl champ in the last 3 years?
Dak sounds like a damn idiot. You can't marry that quote with him and Micah. Well, if you take away the scoreboard and blah, 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 blah. Y'all sound like some damn idiots. Like what?
Take away the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Copium.
They felt
Copium.
comfortable enough to say that for all of us to hear and to remember.
Out loud. They felt comfortable enough to say that out loud in out of the privacy of their own home. That could have been left in the drafts. If you think delusional stuff like that, leave that crap in the drafts. Like, bro.
Every time the Cowboys lose next year, too, this quote is coming up. You know it.
Mm-hmm.
That and the Micah one.
As well it should. Like,
if you take away the scoreboard,
whatever helps them sleep at night, they can tell themselves whatever they want.
Micah is an infection.
Just that entire city is just an infection at this point. Like,
of delusion.
Not only in the NFL, fucking Nico Harrison's defense wins championship shit that he pulled. Like, what are we doing here? What is going on in Dallas? Like, how do you get all of the worst guys making decisions in one city? Like, I think I'd rather have Antonio Brown be the GM for the Mavericks and the Cowboys at this point. He accidentally says something that makes more sense than they do.
Right. He couldn't be any worse. Well, as we, I guess, come down off of that, I do have the early odds for the Super Bowl next year.
Okay.
So this may surprise you. I don't know. We'll see. So if I were to tell you, well, I think I think Gene kind of went over the top 5 of the list, so I won't necessarily, unless you guys saw it, you probably would know the top 5. I'll just tell you, top 5 right now, Chiefs and Ravens are tied for the best odds. Eagles, Bills, Lions are your top 5, according to ESPN Bet, as your Super Bowl chance for next year.
Okay.
What do you think about that top 5?
A team that didn't even get out of the division, the divisional, is second in odds.
They're actually tied with the Chiefs. So the Chiefs and the Ravens are tied for number 1 at best odds right now. The Eagles,
No
Bills,
comment.
and Lions are all tied as well.
No comment.
Which is more dumb, Dak saying that or Cam saying he would give up the Super Bowl for MVP?
Dak, easily.
Dak,
Yeah.
easily.
Cam, winning the MVP is still cool enough where you say you don't want to trade that for a Super Bowl. A lot of people disagree, but at the end of the day, just a testitude, it just gives you an accolade and it just shows your individual dominance. So I get it. If you say you'd rather have the MVP over a Super Bowl, it might not be the popular opinion, but I get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just fucking stupid. Pardon my French.
Okay, so I'll tell you the next 5 teams. Maybe I feel like this part you can probably, I don't know. 49ers are 6th. We'll see. Bengals are 7. Commanders are 8. Packers are 9. Rams are 10.
Wait a minute. Wait. I got a problem with this.
Okay.
The Commanders literally, Jaden Daniels had a really good rookie season. But they went to the NFC Championship game and they're under repeat that.
6 49ers, 7 the Bengals, Commanders are 8.
The damn 49ers.
Yeah.
You saw the type of season they had and the fact that they're always injured and they're about to have to offload some of those players because of cap. And you sit here telling me they got the 6th best odds. What they smoking on over? I'm very
Okay. Anthony lets us know that the trade request from Myles Garrett was weeks before it went public. So, yeah, he's probably put the house up for sale, packed it all up. He's wiping his hands done with Cleveland.
You know what?
Now, of course, they just have to find the partner and everything like that. But, yeah.
The 49ers.
Hey, I guess they're looking at it
Over
as
the Commanders. And the Commanders went to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. Yeah. Because basically the Commanders have the same odds as the Packers. And then the Rams have the same odds as the Chargers. So Chargers are 11.
Damien,
Where
don't
the
start
Bears?
that.
I'll let you know where the Bears are, Damien.
Low.
They're actually not as low as you might think.
I'm guessing they're probably top 15. They're probably in that 11 to 15 range, if I had to take a real guess.
Close. Chargers are 11. The Texans are 12. Vikings are 13. The Buccaneers are 14. The Broncos are 15. The Bears come in at 16th.
Oh, okay.
So you're very close.
I know mine dead last, so there's that. You ain't got to go there.
The Titans are not dead last. They're not.
31st?
No?
30th.
Yes. Dead last are the Giants. And 31st
You know what,
the Raiders.
The rate.
I guess.
I'll tell you, Jory, the team above the Titans will probably make you kind of upset.
Is it the
Patriots,
Jags or
isn't
the
it?
Colts?
It's the Jags.
Oh, you kidding me?
Which means the Colts are even higher than that.
And that's a load of BS too.
Because going up, you got the Jags, then the Browns, Panthers, Saints, Colts. Then Patriots, Jets, Cardinals, Falcons, Steelers.
I have the Panthers
Cowboys.
over all of them.
Yeah. So I
This-
probably should have gone the other way. So after the Bears, you go Dolphins, Seahawks, Cowboys, Steelers, Falcons, Cardinals, Jets, Patriots. Then it's Colts, Saints, Panthers, Browns, Jaguars, Titans, Raiders, Giants.
I would trust half those teams over the Saints.
Yeah.
Like an aging, decrepit roster, all your quote unquote stars, if we're using that term loosely, are over 30, 50 million in cap, purgatory.
Yeah.
Like, I would put the Saints way down.
At least they got a coach finally. Kellen Moore.
Yeah, because he's the only guy desperate enough to take the job.
I mean, yeah.
Wasn't
Seahawks are 18th, Anthony.
Saints' job was like the worst. Is like the worst job in the league. Like, I'm shocked that Kellen Moore even took the job. That's an awful job to have.
He must have guarantees of like 3 to 5 years to fix it. Because if they expect Kellen Moore to like turn around year one, they can forget about that. Cowboys 19th. They're right after the Seahawks.
And that dumbass gonna say that they close.
I mean, they're right there.
Well, if you take away the records, they were close. I mean,
18 other teams in the front.
Look,
If you take away the 18 other teams in front, we'd be first.
yeah.
Stupid.
Hey, Dak wants to put some money down on it. They're 50-1. Obviously, Dak, if you're paying attention, use a fake name. Don't be stupid. But 50-1 odds. Hey, he could clean up. Yeah, I didn't give you the odds necessarily. So Titans are 200-1. Giants are 250-1. Patriots are 75-1. Brett, your Packers are 20-1.
Okay, I'll take it.
I'm just
It's about
here
time
for
for-
the rebuild.
Yeah. Well, Anthony Commanders are 20-1 as well, and Damien's Bears are 40-1. So Damien, go put down some money. Bears out of the Vikings is blasphemy. Ain't no way Vikings are gonna be better with JJ and Danny Fumbles. Okay.
I mean, Kevin O'Connell and company, they're a great coach that'll have that team like coached up to overperform. So
Mhm.
I think the Bears will be better than the Vikings this year also, but it's also not impossible that the Vikings are better than the Bears this year.
Yeah. All right, last NFL thing, and then we'll get out of here with the go to NBA. More likely to happen next year: Eagles go back to back, or the Chiefs make it back to the Super Bowl.
I almost want to say the Eagles going back to back. Well, it's tough because you don't want to bet against Patrick Mahomes, but I feel like at this point the Chiefs have more question marks than the Eagles.
Mhm.
So I'm going to bet that the Eagles go back to back over the Chiefs going back.
Anthony, if you're betting on the Giants to make the wild card round, call the number, call the hotline. Just put it on speed dial.
I found it interesting he asked that. I feel like, Anthony, you trying to put it out there right now? The Giants having a surprise season next year?
Like the folks on Twitter going mad because the Gatorade was yellow and not orange.
It's funny because I feel like the Giants do have some fun pieces, but they're still quite a bit of ways from making the playoffs, I think. But, I do like some of the pieces. I still think they have one of the better front sevens in football. I like Malik Neighbors, obviously. Tyrone Tracy had a great year. It almost feels like that if they got a quarterback and short up their secondary a bit, some line pieces, like I think they could start making. I think they could be a playoff team in the next, I'd say, 3 years.
I was trying to look up what Anthony's asking for. So I went to FanDuel. I will say FanDuel has the Eagles in as their favorite for next year. So at least they're showing some respect to the champs there. Oh, they put out early odds for the MVP next year. Would you like to guess who's the odds-on favorite?
Lamar Jackson.
It absolutely is Lamar Jackson. He's at plus 450. Then it's Josh Allen, Joe Burrow.
MVPs and 3 playoff wins.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts. Your top 6. 7, 8. They have Jordan Love at 10.
Yes. It's coming. It's coming eventually.
They also have Caleb Williams at 11.
Extend Toyotathon. That should make a petition.
I
Extend Toyotathon throughout the playoffs.
I've been pushing that agenda. I need just Toyotathon. You know what? Just we'll go all in. Just make it from September to February. Call it a day. I don't think Sanders is by himself is enough to push. Like you're gonna have to get some more line pieces. But I think even bigger than that.
Evan Neal is
Yeah, you got to
trash.
replace him. He's awful. And secondary too. Like you cannot run it back with these really awful pieces in the secondary.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm really trying to figure out Anthony's questioning. I mean, technically, if the Giants have the longest odds to win the Super Bowl, I'm assuming their odds to make the playoffs can't be that much better.
I'll say 1,000-1.
I mean, maybe. NFL playoffs odds. Okay, here we go. Maybe I found it. Super Bowl conference. Okay. Conference winner. What? All right, though, Anthony, I'll try to find that for next week's show because I'm not sure. Yeah, they don't have it yet. Yeah, find it for next week. All right, so it's Cam Moore. Oh, Saquon's still getting disrespected. I mean, he did win Offensive Player of the Year. He got some shine. Is Cam Ward a lock for number 1?
No.
Yeah, no, because Carter's going to be in play. I think Hunter's going to be in play. It's all going to depend on Tennessee's plan, and if a trade happens between the number 1 pick, that'll probably let you know who's probably going to go number 1. I think Tennessee's playing a very down the line. Like we could go quarterback. We also like Abdul Carter.
And you know what? That's fair though, because Abdul Carter is going to be very well could be a top pass rusher in the league, and the Titans are a team that desperately need more pass rushers.
I also need a pass rusher.
Yeah, I think that Carter could very well be the move at number 1. He's that good at that; it would be justifiable. Mm-hmm. Also, if you're not sold on these quarterbacks, put the pick out there. See if you can start a bidding war.
Right. You have the number 1 pick. Don't take a quarterback just to take one if you don't actually like them.
Yeah, that would make you Cleveland.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And who knows? With the way the combine and everything could play out, these quarterbacks could drop a little. So even if you wanted one, if you backed off of the number 1 pick and got more picks in return, maybe you could get one if you went to number 5. I mean, I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see throughout the process. Because there's guys like Jackson Dart and all these guys who may shoot up draft boards, may drop. We don't know. But all right, let's go NBA. So much news happening in the NBA. Where do we begin? I mean, look, today we had Brandon Ingram gets traded to Toronto and then signs a 3-year, $120 million extension. What are the Raptors doing?
Locking in that play-in spot for at least another 3 years.
I don't understand the extension. Do they think Ingram, Scotty Barnes, and a bunch of guys are just gonna suddenly gel and become a playoff team? Like, no. There has to be more to this. They obviously can't just think Barnes and Ingram are gonna do anything in the East, but
I don't even. The thing is, I don't even think there is more to it. If you look at the history of Toronto, this is a team that always wants to compete, regardless of what competing looks like to them.
mhm.
Competing, and they always want to compete and win basketball teams. And to them, if that means putting together a team that's just barely good enough to sneak out of the play-in and get obliterated in the first round,
Mhm.
then that's what they're going to do. We've seen them do it for years, just put together absolutely mid teams.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, this can't be the plan. It probably is going to be the plan, and you're just going to have very middling years of Toronto Raptors basketball.
Mm-hmm. Davey says Raptors planning to be bankrupt. Well, there you go. Embrace it.
I don't know what they're doing. It makes no sense, but nothing the Raptors does make sense.
Very true. And Davey, yes, defensive players have gone number one.
Say the Jaguars just did it a couple of years ago with Walker, right?
Javon
We have Walker,
Mm-hmm.
Mario Williams.
How'd that turn
The
out?
Texans took Mario Williams number one a few years ago. So yeah, it's happened. Times. But I guess other news as well. Alex Len to the Lakers after the deal with the Hornets fell through, which I know Jory has strong feelings about. If you saw last night, Passion and Precision, she kind of went in on the Hornets. So I look, you as the Lakers fan here on the panel, how excited are you for Alex Len?
Yay. He's a body.
And I'm
We
sure
ain't
he'll
gotta be
pass the
stuck with small
physical.
ball.
He'll pass a physical.
He passed the physical.
Yeah.
I don't know about all this stretching the court and being the best big man on the court and all of that crap. He's a body.
Yes. I mean, his best
He
years
is a
were,
body
his best
that
years were in
lasts until the
Atlanta.
off
He,
season.
yeah, his best years were in Atlanta. He was like a 10.6 rebound kind of guy.
I think at the end of the day, it's an upgrade for him, so that's good. That's good. Obviously, look at it as a trade, right? Alex Len for Christian Wood. Christian Wood just stinks. Alex Len can roll to the basket for him. He can catch rebounds, and he can also set screens without committing an offensive foul every time.
Mm-hmm.
He's a talented body.
He if you're to look between Wood and Len. Wood's the kind of guy that looks a lot better than he is, but if you're a winning basketball team, you're gonna take Alex Len 11 times out of 10, and it's not even gonna be a discussion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Christian Wood, boy, I invent curse words when I see him.
For a couple of years, he was that guy that everybody was like, "Hey, go get Christian Wood. Go get Christian Wood. He's this." He's a power forward. He can shoot the three. He's a scorer. It's yeah, he stinks defensively. Yeah, but he can shoot the three. It's well, he's not good enough to warrant a spot in your rotation because he can knock down a couple of threes. Because however good you think he is offensively, he's much worse.
He can't stretch the floor worth a damn. So, what?
He's not a consistent perimeter shooter either. So it's just
there are some players that the idea of the player is better than the actual player. The hypothetical idea of Christian Wood, when you explain it to somebody, sounds amazing. And then you actually watch Christian Wood play basketball, and you're like, this was false advertising. This is nothing like the player I was told I was getting.
I want my money back.
Yep.
You watch Christian Wood and you're I want my money back. I want all those blinks that I just wasted watching him back. I want all those breaths that I just wasted. I want those back. A complete refund of all of my time and effort. of watching him.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get it.
Yeah. Was Len injured this season? His stats not even good. I think it's just more of he's kind of just like stuck because let's see, Len was
Sacramento.
He in Sacramento this year?
Well, and here's the thing with
like you have Sabonis, you have the other guys kind of ahead of him.
And that's the thing with Alex Len, right? His stats aren't going to look good because one, like the center rotation was really weird over there. Like we saw them try to run a lot of small ball with Trey Lyles, but also like there's not a lot of center minutes to go around. The good thing about Sabonis is he's an Iron Man. He doesn't miss and he plays a lot of minutes. So especially if you're trying to run a lot of these small ball lineups mixed in with Sabonis taking a chunk of the time, it's just not a lot of minutes for Alex Len in Sacramento.
Yeah.
You can't rescind a trade, Damian, because you realize you got swindled in the 18th hour. That's not how this works.
But Luka's fat, so he's 270, so trade rescinded, apparently.
He's an alcoholic, so I guess it's okay. I'll take him.
Yeah.
And you can have Anthony Davis. How'd that start?
Right, because you have to talk about that. Anthony Davis showed in the first half. 26 and 16, 3 blocks. Like, okay, Dallas maybe salvaged a little bit. Then early in the second half, he's playing defense, trying to make a move to cut off somebody going to the basket, and he automatically doubles over holding his midsection. Which even that, it's like it's gone from Anthony Davis like questionable ab to Anthony Davis groin. I feel like today I saw Anthony Davis leg. Like, do we not know what's hurting him now? Like, are we just guessing at this point? And they're talking about he's gonna miss like
that game that you just pick the stuff out without touching the
Operation.
Screen. Yes. Operation AD. What hurts?
Yeah. And now they're talking about like, it went from it might be a week or so. Now it's like up to 4 weeks. Now it's indefinite. Like it's any goodwill Nico was probably thinking at that first half. He's like, see, this is why I did it, guys. And then he gets hurt. And now you hear everything after that. It's like, yeah, Nico, this is not going well for you at all.
Like,
and Luka.
I was going to say, the NBA,
ahead.
Script writers did amazing with that game because they somehow gave you the entire Anthony Davis experience in the span of like 30 minutes. Like, dominant first half, inconsistent to start the second, and then now he's out for 2 weeks. Like, you literally just got his entire career speed run in 30 minutes. It was wild. I hope Anthony Davis is healthy and bounces back, but listen, when it comes to the Luka trade, Nico, Mr. Patrick Dermont, they just need to shut up because every time they talk about it, they sound worse and worse because I don't want to hear Patrick Dermont talking about, well, we need guys with work ethics like Shaq. That was the worst player you could have drawn because I've seen guys like, who played with Shaq, Kobe say, yeah, if Shaq wasn't so lazy, we'd have 12 rings by now. And it's ironic because we're talking about a guy who he's talking about the Shaq workout plan, right? Shaq comes into the season out of shape, kind of ramps it up throughout the season. Come playoff time, he gives you his absolute best. I wish the Mavs had a player like that. If only there's a player in the league that did that, Dallas should consider trying to get him, man.
Yeah.
They had one. That's the thing. They had one, and they traded him for Anthony Davis and Max Christie. Now I'm mad about Max Christie. That was the one that hurt for real.
Yeah,
they both hurt. But I had just seen Max Christie. He was coming into his own, and then in true Laker fashion, trade. I'm like, damn.
I will say too, what makes this trade it's going to be hilariously worse is the Mavericks don't have any of their picks from 2028 to 2030. It's all pick swaps, and that is the funniest thing ever to me. Like 2028, if they don't win the title in the next year and a half, and the even worst case scenario for them because Kyrie has a player option after this season, like there's a real chance that they could go to the lottery in 3 straight years and have none of those picks because pick swap in 2028, Oklahoma City Thunder. They're cashing that in. We know that. I'll call it my shot on that right now. 2029, Houston Rockets. They're probably cashing that in. If they're not, something's gone wrong. And 2030, the San Antonio Spurs. They're cashing that in. So you literally just handed 3 already young up-and-coming teams with another lottery pick.
First-round picks.
For 3 years. Yep. Mind you, when all of their star players are even more in their primes and they're going to be looking for cost-effective contracts, you literally went, yeah, Wemby? Yeah, here's one of the 14 best players in the 2030 draft. Shea, 2028 draft, have one of the 14 best players. This is a train wreck, and this thing's going to go off the rails so quick. Now, I don't think Kyrie leaves because I think they're going to throw the full 4-year max at him, but I kind of hope he does just to watch the absolute destruction that it would cause.
So they throw the 4-year max at him, but don't want to give Luka the super.
Oh, I not only do I think they throw the 4-year max at him, I think they'll give him a player option in the 4th year. They have gone all.
The Mavs deserve what's coming.
They have gone all.
I'll gladly take Luka.
No, absolutely. They've gone all in to such a point that Kyrie can ask for anything, and they don't really have much of a choice to go, okay, he could get a 3+1 and a no trade clause, a 25% trade kicker. And I don't think the Mavs could really, at this point, afford to say no to it. So Kyrie is in an absolute position of power, unlike we only see really out of superstars, and that's wild to me.
Mm-hmm. You also got to factor into this equation as well. Jalen Brunson used to be there. And I'm not even the biggest Jalen Brunson guy, but
he sure
like
was.
Seeing where they
He sure was in Dallas.
Yeah. And a lot of people thought they moved him because Luka was there, and obviously you would never be able to give Jalen Brunson like starter minutes, and now you have neither. And you're stuck with Kyrie, AD, and however else you can kind of put pieces around those two to keep them relevant. I mean, they're starting to kind of like sink right now. I think they're around 5. Are they like 500? I think right now. Hold on, let me pull the standings up. They are okay. They're 28 and 26.
Oh, the 2 games over 500, and they don't have a center for 2 weeks. Great, because now Gafford's out,
right.
Lively's out, Davis is out.
Yeah, Gafford just got hurt. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gafford's out, AD's out, Lively's out, Powell is out, and Kyrie has a back issue. And Kyrie has a back issue he's dealing with.
And they don't have Maxi Kleber.
No.
It's going to be interesting to see how this works and who they throw at center. Like, it's weird because now they're just going to have to get stupid creative because normally you just kind of go, well, they can try to throw like PJ Washington at center, but he's day-to-day, so they can't even throw him at center. Mm-hmm. It got so desperate that Omax was playing center. By the way, full name, this is a great name, Oliver Maxence Prosper. Omax was playing center, and everybody was complaining about it. It's funny. They were going in like, why would Jason Kidd do this? And I'm just kind of like, dude, he's out of options, man. Like, what do you want?
Did you not see his face at the press conference? Did you not see his face? That's exactly what he looks like when he looks at this roster. Like,
I've never seen.
What the hell is this?
Like, if he's in a bad shape when he cancels. Like, he didn't even come out to do the post-game press conference. He canceled the coach's portion of it. He said, I'm not doing this. I've never really seen a coach do that, or it doesn't happen often enough. So I thought that was pretty telling that he's just like, I'm not facing the media today. That shit ain't happening.
Yep.
And he looked like he was trying not to spaz. He looked like he wanted to punch Nico.
If I'm Jason Kidd, after the season, I don't care if I don't coach again for a while. I'm putting in my 2 weeks, man. Be like, listen, you sold me on this team with Luka. With Luka, we made the finals. You have destroyed this team of the future and gave me an uncompetitive basketball team. I want out.
Yeah. Like either that or you kick in the door and you sit down and you go, look, what are you going to do this offseason? Because I have 1 foot out the door, and whatever you tell me right now will decide whether I just throw in my 2 weeks notice and just walk out of here.
Nope.
And if the answer is anything short of we're going to go get whoever and Jason Kidd is fine with that, like, why would you want to sit through this again next year? Like, they are a big man away from like having to put, I don't even know what.
It's Nico. He's probably going to be like, well, we're going to sign 37-year-old Brooke Lopez because, defense wins championships or something like that. Like, I don't trust him to make
Dwight Howard to the Mavericks.
Yeah, here comes Boogie and Dwight from overseas.
I mean, look, if you're Jason Kidd, you're like, fine, I don't care. Go get him.
I mean, at this point, Jason Kidd just might suit up to play center for the Mavericks.
Like, yes, a lot of it is unlucky that they've had the same position be decimated as they have. But, it's going to be a year that Nico's going to want to forget right after the season. It's not looking good for him.
Yeah, he's just done in Dallas. He's got to put in his he should quit tomorrow. Like that man he cannot show his face to that stadium or that city ever again.
Yeah, but Stephen A. did make a good point. Like Nico's the GM. Somebody up above him had to give him the okay to explore the Luka trade. He couldn't just do it on his own. And we kind of found out who it was.
It was Dermont, because he brought the trade to him.
Yeah.
And he laughed at him.
Yeah. So it's just like, I know Nico's getting killed. I think Dermont is starting to kind of get some of, some hate as well. But it's just like, we can't just think Nico went rogue. We can't think Nico went rogue and was like, oh, I got an axe to grind with Luke. I'm going to get him out of here. And nobody knew. Like he was giving orders.
Screw the whole Mavericks front office and management too. We saw the report they put out that, pretty much just be nice. Nico Harrison has had death threats filed against him, but and it turned out they were lying. Tim McMahon reached out and they're like, we didn't get any reported to us. You're trying to paint your fan base as the bad guy. You are so desperate to be the victim that you're willing to throw your loyal fan base under the bus because it's easier to do that than just admit, yeah, hey, we messed up on this one, guys. At this point, everybody should go. That is a terribly run front office. Ownership just went to crap ever since, Mark Cuban stepped down. Because we know, Cuban had his flaws, but he would have never traded Luka. He said he would have rather divorced his wife than trade Luka.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I believe him.
Luka was his next.
So, I honestly shame on Dallas, the Mavericks, just organization in general, for making up a lot of lies and trying to paint your fan base as the bad guy. Quite frankly, you deserve to be booed. You deserve to get fired, Nico chance, and everything that's coming to you. You deserve it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because I'm like, why are we lying about people getting death threats when there are actual people that get death threats on a daily? Why are we lying on people who really didn't do anything too bad other than show up in a shirt with a sign and carry caskets and protest outside the stadium because they were pissed? I mean, I saw the video dude would have had a casket.
Yeah.
They're mad.
Yeah. It's just
they're not crossing the lines right now.
But it's fans in any
situation. You should be lucky they're not crossing the lines. But to assume that they are to lie like they are and they're not.
Yeah.
Whoever put that out there deserves us to rot. Because I'm like, what kind of a public smear campaign is this? You're smearing Luka just lying through the damn gaps of their teeth talking about he's 270. He stepped off the Lakers plane in that I'm like 270.
Mhm.
What? He took
Yep.
the picture in the uniform. I'm like, yellow must really make him look slim. Because where is the 270?
Mhm.
Like, did Patrick Dermott look at his own scale and see 270 and go, just photoshopped it? Just, oh, look at Luka's scale. He's just fat. Trade him. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And listen, if yellow makes you look that flattering, I might just have to buy some new yellow shirts myself. Maybe I can look, 250 or 240. Yeah, just overall shame on Dallas. And
Mhm.
that's unfortunate because that's a
Yep.
team that's always had a very loyal and just great fan base. And now they've like thrown like an eternity of goodwill out the window. And for what? And it's funny because they weren't
Yeah.
going to get over this trade. And honestly, if you would have just fired Nico after the season and Patrick actually would have taken his heat, like eventually this might boil over. But now you've tried to gaslight the entire world into thinking your fan base is terrible. Now it's not going to happen. Now they're just going to hate the owners, hate the GM, hate this whole front office forever. And I don't blame them. I think I'll hate them forever too.
Yeah. Now, what if I told you there's a conspiracy theory that's starting to be floated out there surrounding all of this? And we all know when it comes to conspiracy theories, like some are just wild that you're just like, never. But this one is that the Mavs front office is trying to create so much ill will that like fans stop showing up so they can move the team to Vegas. Because a few years ago, apparently Dallas tried to get like a casino built near the arena. The city said no because like sports gambling isn't allowed
Yeah.
in Texas. So they got to Vegas. Obviously, it's legal there, and they can kind of get into that. What would you think about that conspiracy
If I'm the
theory?
NBA, I'm straight up telling them no. Because
Yeah.
I'd literally rather have an expansion team there. Like I'd rather
Mhm.
put an expansion team in Vegas and obviously Seattle. But if I'm moving a team to Vegas, I'm not moving a team. I'm just putting an expansion to there. Like, let's be real. Like, what are you selling them on? Hey guys, do you want to watch 30 games of AD and 50 games of Kyrie effort before he checks out? Like, not selling anybody on that. Nobody wants to watch that. But could I sell a team?
They barely watch the Raiders.
Right. And Vegas isn't really half the time a great sports city anyway. Like, it's a great city for like attractions, like Super Bowl, WrestleMania, big boxing matches. But they just don't seem to really consistently support teams a ton.
I mean, it seems like the Aces get good support. I think the Golden Knights get good support, but also the Golden Knights just won like a title not that long ago and are still a pretty good
So
hockey
we have to
team.
wait till they win in order for them to get the support. So I'm not.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the Golden
Yeah,
Knights.
they won like
I
their
think they
first
won
year.
like in their inaugural season, but yeah.
No,
Which that's crazy.
Yeah,
to think,
I just don't see it going well. I don't see that going. I'd rather sell them on.
What would they name a team in Vegas?
That's a good question. Because we know like hockey's going through this with Utah, trying to name because it's like the Utah Hockey Club right now, but they're gonna get a new name next year.
Then
So I'm assuming the Vegas team won't go through a year of like being the basketball club because
why not? The Washington Commanders did it. Let's be the Las Vegas basketball team.
No, I feel like if you're gonna put a team there, have a name ready to go. Like, come
Listen,
on.
as long as they put a team in Seattle, then whatever. I don't care.
I still would like to see a team back in
That would be cool too.
Get a second. Yeah, a second. Get back to the second Canadian team. That way, you have an Eastern Conference Canadian team and a Western Conference. But if I was going to name a team in Vegas, I guess to play off of kind of the gambling aspect, because you have the Vegas Aces, I would go Outlaws, because when you think Outlaws, you think like Wild West, card games were kind of part of that culture as well. I would go Vegas Outlaws. It kind of sounds like XFL-ish, but
It's gonna be funny because they're gonna come up with some name that's like gambling related while telling you not to gamble while being promoted by FanDuel. To me, that's just the funniest thing ever.
I've had a few, but the ones I come up with, it's a walking joke. I'm like, because
if you try to go like card related to match the aces, it's like, yeah, it's kind of tough.
Because you can't call them a spade, because that's just gonna cause issues.
Yeah, you can't go Joker.
You can't go Joker because
Like
that's
aces,
a walking.
aces was like the perfect card related name to use. Aces. Because you can't go deuces because they're trash. Then that just opens yourself up to a bunch of names, to a bunch of jokes as well.
And you can't even name them the blackjacks.
No.
I'm one of the most creative people I know, and I'm having a hard time coming up with one.
Yeah.
They're in Nevada. It's hot. It's a desert.
Yep. Because that also played into my outlaw type thing because it does make you think Wild West, Cowboys, and all. Yeah. It's actually an interesting question. I guess, if you're in the chat and you have a name for the Vegas team, would love to hear it.
It's hot.
And
it's really pretty out. But when I tell you it's hot, especially in June, it's not like Georgia heat or somewhere over here on the East Coast where it's hot and sticky. It's just hot. They don't got mosquitoes over there. I didn't see a mosquito in sight.
It would be interesting. I guess
off the strip because that's a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wonder what they would come up with. I guess while you are thinking about that, I did want to bring up the draft results from Team Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny. I think when they first announced that they were going to have the draft, I think we talked about who we thought were going to be picked last and stuff like that. Now, I got to say, the fact that my boy Jaylen Brown was the last to be picked, I feel like they're trying to play off his personality because they know that's going to drive him to be, to play really well. Him being last. Yeah, he was picked last by Shaq, Jaylen Brown. So the draft order went like this. Shaq had the number 1 pick. He took LeBron. Kenny's first pick was Anthony Edwards. Yeah, Shaq had to stick with the Laker thing. Kenny took Anthony Edwards. Chuck, since they did a snake draft, he went Jokic and then Giannis. Giannis won't play. He's been replaced by Trae Young. So Hawks fans can quit crying about that. So Chuck has Trae Young now. Then Shaq went Curry. So Curry and LeBron will get that storyline. And then Kenny went Brunson, Jaren Jackson Jr. back to back. Chuck went SGA. Shaq went Anthony Davis. Shaq went Jason Tatum. Kenny had Jalen Williams. Chuck went Victor Wembanyama and Pascal Siakam back to back. I thought Siakam was going to be one of the last picked, but I think Chuck really likes Siakam. I've heard him talk about it. He does. Yeah. Shaq went with Durant. Kenny went Garland and Mobley back to back, so it took 2 Cavs guys. Chuck went with Sengun. Then Shaq went Lillard and Harden back to back. Kenny took Cade Cunningham. And then Chuck went back to back with Karl-Anthony Towns, Donovan Mitchell. The last 2 picked were Tyler Hero by Kenny and Jaylen Brown by Shaq. Hero.
Shaq just went all name.
Mm-hmm.
I figured.
Yeah.
That's such a Shaq way to build a roster.
Right. And I think FanDuel like put odds on this or something, which of course they did. So according to FanDuel, they rated out Team Chuck as the best team,
And
which I'll
And I
give
see
you
it.
his roster so you can. It's Jokic, Trae Young, SGA, Wemby, Siakam, Sengun, Towns, Mitchell.
yeah, and I think that's fair. I think he definitely has the best roster, and I don't
That's
think
fair.
there's any question about it. At least in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. The next best, Team Kenny. And Kenny, once again, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Jaren Jackson, Jalen Williams, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, Tyler Hero. So Shaq going off of
The hero
names.
thing just kind of.
Somebody had to take him. And then Shaq as the worst team. LeBron, Steph, AD, Tatum, Durant, Lillard, Harden, Brown.
AD got replaced, didn't he? Because he can't play.
I don't think he's been officially replaced yet. Which I wonder who that would be. Would that
I
be?
thought I saw something that.
Oh, let me see.
Because Giannis isn't playing.
Yeah, Giannis has been replaced by Trae Young. Anthony Davis obviously won't play. I don't know if they named a replacement yet. Let me just double check. Oh, Kyrie Irving is replacing him.
Yeah, Shaq's team is trash. Like, what rhyme or reason did he go into?
I don't know.
He had no rhyme or reason. Look.
Now I know, because I know TNT probably has the video up of the draft. I'm gonna go back and watch it just to hear the back and forth between them and everything like that. I'll probably have a better answer for that next week. Although this weekend is NBA All-Star weekend, so we'll kind of see how the new format and everything plays out. And yeah, I mean that was like the last thing I really had for you all. So obviously, great show, great talking with you, Jory and Brett. I mean, look, hopefully this becomes maybe a normal thing. Because like I said, Jory's been on now 2 weeks in a row. I can already tell. I know you're having a lot of fun on here, so I'm sure you might be wanting to come back again. So yeah, anytime like you are free to, you are fully welcome to come on the show.
Word.
No more appearances. I'm just going to say you're just a member of the show at this point.
At this point.
Yes.
I will say, Kevin Durant needs to stop being an old-ass hater.
I just think it's second nature to him at this point.
Like, what? I'm like, who put water in your Cheerios, Grandpa?
Like, can you imagine when he's actually like an old man? Like, he's going to be
so ornery.
Yeah.
And he ain't gonna have no kids. So somebody's gonna have to take care of his big butt.
His personality is just between the burner accounts and just
I'm not
hating
sensitive.
everything.
He just
he doesn't like
everything.
anything. But
like, damn, what do you like? Do you like rainbows? Do you like butterflies? Yeah. Do you like puppies? What do you like?
Shaq screwed up his team like he screwed up his relationship with hoops. Okay, Damian. Look, only on the ball will you get a reference to hoops. So there you go. Appreciate that, Damian. But I mean, Jory, let the people know where they can find you.
On Jory Sports Stories, I should have an episode out tomorrow. If not on my YouTube channel, I have something posted on TikTok. It's either going to be Laker related or Titans related. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But you'll have something tomorrow. And I definitely have, you want to check out the Passion and Precision blog, I have an article in the works. It's just detailing my entire rant about the Mavericks trade. I mean, the Luka trade. And everything that went with it.
Yes. Okay. There you go. Brett,
you can catch me on, ironically, in about like 5 minutes on the Meaty Boys podcast where I talk professional wrestling. I'm on a multitude of shows, Sideline to Sideline on Thursday, Morning Show Friday, and one podcast on Thursday. So you can catch me all around.
All right. And like for me, I'm on a few shows here on Integrity Sports. Check me out, Chomping at the Bit, for my personal channel. I feel like I'm coming up with an idea for an article for Jory and I's blog for Passion and Precision. So hopefully I can get that out later this week. And yeah, so make sure you like, follow, or subscribe to Integrity Sports Network. That way you'll know when we go live. Jory and I will be back for Passion and Precision later this week as well. And I will be on Sideline to Sideline with Brett and those guys over there. So make sure you just follow each and every one of us because, guarantee you'll enjoy our content. But we definitely appreciate all of you for tuning in. Make sure you guys come back next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern, where I guess we'll be reacting to the All-Star game. And I guess looking forward to the NFL offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, Jory, I mean, I don't know if you are like get into the draft and everything. Usually during the NFL offseason, at some point we start like doing mock drafts for our teams and stuff. So, if you want to join in on that fun,
I'm glad that we got the number one pick because that means ESPN will be forced to talk about my team for the next 3 months. Because any other time they say anything about my Titans is loud and wrong.
Yeah.
These 3 months, they got to get their facts straight.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we will give you the opportunity to run the Titans off season and draft because we will start working that in now that the NFL season's over. Yeah, because that's what we do. Like you would do the Titans, Brett would handle the Packers, I would do the Patriots, and hopefully if Dylan can come back. He usually does the Seahawks. So, but yeah. So appreciate all of you. We're going to get out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. Make sure you go over to Wire to Wire and check out Brett on Meaty Boys talking wrestling and everything like that. So we're out of here.